Hello and welcome to Battle Streams of Middle-earth, and welcome to Damian's hobby vlog number 34. And it's the start of a brand new year. If you've been following along on my hobby vlogs of late, you'll know that I set out my plans for the year, my hobby goals for the year in the last vlog. And this is the first vlog we're actually going to be getting some hobby stuff done, and I'm quite excited to jump in. If you're brand new here, welcome to Battle Streams of Middle-earth. This is our channel where we try and encourage you to help clear that backlog, that big mountain of opportunity that we all have hiding away. And we do that in a number of ways. Every couple of weeks, myself and Steve Crow do a live stream on here where we encourage people to kind of join in the live stream and paint along for fun and for theme. It's a lot of fun. So you can check out the live tab down there if you want to get involved in that. And then I also chart my own hobby journey and my own quest to clear that mythical, it's not a mythical backlog, it's a very real backlog, but that own kind of almost unattainable quest to clear my own backlog through these hobby vlogs, which are always kind of focused around the events I'm going to and so on and so forth. And so this is the first one of the year, and it probably says something down there like the road to the SBG issue 15 photo shoot, because that's what we're doing. It's currently the 3rd of January, and my first batch of painting for this year is already hopelessly optimistic. We are doing the photo shoot for the next issue of SBG magazine. This is issue 14. I wish this was issue 15 because then it'd be finished. This is issue 14, which we released last year, and we are doing our photo shoot for the next issue at the end of January. It's normally at the end of February, but we couldn't get the timings to work, so we're doing our photo shoot a month early, which is great for. It's great for the time we'll have to work on the issue, but it's less great for the amount of painting time that I have for to get things done. So that's what I'm going to be working on. And as it turns out, I just want to check the dates. The photo shoot for SBG issue 15 is on January. Why does this not work? January the 27th and 28th, is that right? Yeah, Saturday the 27th and Sunday the 28th of January. So it's the end of January. So this whole vlog can only take up a month, basically. It's going to cover the journey as I try and get models painted for that, and it will wrap up really neatly in a neat little bow everything I've done in January. So that issue, we have already teased in issue 14, is going to be following the journey. What we've been doing for the last 4 issues is doing our the whole War of the Ring campaign. So through issue 11 and 12 we did the Fellowship of the Ring across a bunch of scenarios. In issue 13 we followed the 3 hunters into Rohan, and in issue 14 we did the Siege of Helm's Deep. And so we've done that. The 3 hunters are at the end of the 2 towers now. We've got to go back in time and pick up Merry and Pippin's storyline. So issue 15 is going to be following Merry and Pippin's storyline through the 2 towers and all that involves. It's going to be quite entertaining, but what it needs is some orcs, some filthy orcses. And whilst we've all got, and by all I mean the people involved in the photo shoot, but I think this is true, most of us have got some orcs, some Mordor Orcs, normally the plastic ones painted up, but they're normally some old models we painted. They're not normally that great, and so we wanted, for the photos, we wanted some nice new painted metal Mordor Orcs, and I got some. So here are some Mordor Orc warriors from the Made to Order. This is the I think these guys have been on Made to Order twice now, but this is the first Made to Order. I bought these, or maybe not the first Made to Order, but one of the first Made to Orders. I remember being super excited when these guys came back. I'd wanted metal Mordor Orcs, and back in the day they were like hen's teeth. They were so expensive to try and get hold of, and I was just super excited by the concept of a Made to Order. And when these came out, I bought up 2 boxes. I think they were sold in 14s, so I think that's 28 of the guys with hand weapons, and then I've got some of the bowmen as well. I think my bowmen might all be in green Fellowship blisters. I think I actually had the bowmen from somewhere else, but maybe I picked up some of the bowmen as well. I basically got about 40 orcs or something, and I'd wanted to do them. And if you see on there, you see this box has got 2020 written on it, and that's because this might be one for the kind of B. Simon GBHL historians, but I bought 2 boxes of these, and in 2019, I had planned to paint a bunch of these in 2020. So what I did was, when I was kind of separating out my collection and kind of storing everything away, I'd made an army list, and at the time it was for doubles. It was for Warhammer doubles in 2020. And I put all the models I would need, all the Metal Orc models I'd need, into this, and I wrote 2020 on it. And then I put the other box up in the big box in the loft. So this box stayed downstairs to be painted in 2020, and the other box went away into storage. And then, don't know if you heard, but a bit of a bug went round in 2020, and so that event got cancelled. And Warhammer World Doubles then didn't run. I don't think it ran in 2021 either, possibly. But it ran last year. It came back last year. And so last year, a Troke and Burn rose again, but I didn't have time to paint all these orcs, so we took the All-Mat and Gondor. Went all right, didn't it? And so what's super exciting is now these orcs are also coming back this year. So our plans for doubles is to take the army that we were meant to take in 2020 4 years later, which is going to be really, really exciting. So as well as having these for the SBG Photoshoot, these orcs are kind of going to stay with me throughout the year. The orcs are going to be the start of an ongoing project for my year, which I'm really quite excited about. And so they're going to be used in an SBG Photoshoot. They're then going to me, hopefully with some more guys, at the GT, which will be the next vlog in February. Can you see Sauron? Sauron's back there somewhere. Painted him up in my Hobby Bingo vlog. I'm planning to take Sauron and a bunch of orcs to the GT, so that will involve painting more orcs. They'll also be needed for the SBG issue 16 photo shoot, so more orcs. And then they'll hopefully be going off to doubles with me this year, more orcs. So the Metal Mordor Orcs are going to kind of form the core of a lot of my hobby projects for the first half of 2020. So that's not true, 2024. So I'm really, really excited. And there's something incredibly B-simey about this that feels like I'm, getting out the 2020 box to finally crack these guys out of the backlog. I love them. I think they're awesome, awesome models, and I can't wait to get started on them. I need 17 of them to be ready for the photo shoot. That's a lot, if I'm honest. It's a lot. Beyond anything else, it's a lot of metal models to clean up. I hate cleaning up metal models. It takes a while. So I've got to get all those out. I've got to clean them up, and then I've got to paint them. And it is, as I said, the 3rd of January, which means I have, let's have a look, 1, 2, I've got just over 3 weeks. I've got like 23 days to do these in. That's really, really tough for me. The rate I paint, that is really, really tough. I know that people like it when these deadlines are tough. They're always tough. And I often find a way. I don't always find a way. But that does look really hard. So I'm going to try. I really tried to make the photo shoot later so that I had more time, but we just couldn't do it. So we'll see what happens. I'm going to be trying to paint those up in this vlog. But that's not it. I also need to put, I told you we were following the Adventures of Merry and Pip, and so I also need to paint up a new Merry and Pip. I've got the plastic Merry and Pip from the Treebeard kit, the new one. I've painted the ones when I did my last march of the Ents for Throwing Skulls in 2021, I think. I painted up the Merry and Treebeard on his, actually Merry and Pippin on Treebeard, but I never painted the foot ones. And again, I think in an old vlog, I think it was, maybe the start of 2022, whenever I was doing all that kind of fellowship stuff, the Dwarrowdale stuff, the Watcher Pool, I think Merry and Pippin were there. And I think, I should have gone back and checked this, I think I said these guys now, who were so close to being painted in like early 2022, are going to go in a box, and God knows next time they come out. And I think I probably predicted it will be for issue 15 of SBG. Future Damian, see if you can find that clip and see what happened. So, huh? Me? Alright, I'll see what I can find. Guy. Sadly, as I said in that first video, they ain't getting painted now. They only had until now to be painted, and now they're going back in the case because I've just got no need for them. I think, this is being incredibly speculative, I think they'll appear in SBG issue 16, All right, yeah, SBG issue 16, which should be coming out in May 2024. I think they might be in, which would be a February 2024 photo shoot. So I would guess maybe they'll be painted in about 2 years' time. Essentially, they're going to go back in the case now, and that's when they'll next come out. When I need something like that, and such is their lot. Wow! So look at that. Looks like really past Damian was almost bang on with the predictions there. Got the 2 years right and got the February 2024 right. Just seemed to think that it was in issue 16 rather than issue 15 for some reason. Not sure why that'd be. But yeah, there you go. I hope that helped past Damian. Back to you now, and I'll see you in the future. This turns out really, really well, by the way. So well done, really past Damian. Good job. So it's really bizarre to be tracking things over this kind of length of journey where this Merry and Pippin, they already have their bases painted and they're already undercoated and sprayed because they were so close to being painted in like February 2023, February 2022, but instead were then chucked back in the boxes, and now this is another chance. And again, if they don't get painted for this, God knows when they'll get the next chance. So I'm going to also try and paint those two as well, but they are, as much as their bases are done, they're assembled, they are still just white. So I've got to paint another 2 models for that. And in addition to that, there's a few old models that I'm going to try and give a bit of a glow up to try and, they were painted a very long time ago. I'm just going to try and whack a few more highlights on to try and make them pop a little more for the photographs. So yeah, that's what I've got to get done. This is the main thing, 17 Mordor Orcs, but I've also got a couple of hobbits and I've also got a bit of touching up to do. And I've only got 23 days to do it in. It feels tough, but I feel oddly optimistic about it. So there we go. We're off. We're up and running for 2024 on our hobby vlogs, and I will come back and give you an update, hopefully when I've cleaned up and assembled these guys, which will hopefully be pretty quick. But yeah, wish me luck and let's go. Alright, so it is update time, and here we go. We have them assembled and primed. To be honest, I did hope to have, I was planning on just showing you them off, really showing the sculpts off when they're assembled, but I got too excited and I just went and primed them. But here they go. So we've got our 16 orcs and the banner bearer. We'll start with the banner bearer. I think he's less interesting because he's been available for years and years without issue. My technique here, just to start on this one, was that I cleaned them up, glued them in, and glued my normal sand and rocks down onto the base. Then I sprayed them white. I think it's Corax white now, is it? Possibly. And then I sprayed them black. And the reason I do both is because it's going to sound mad, and I'm sure that people are going to kind of kick off. I just don't rate black primer. Black primer for me never ever covers well, particularly over metal models, and particularly over metal models that I'm about to start dry brushing. I often find that you can just kind of brush off the primer. So what I've basically done is prime with white, so there's one coat, and then prime with black. I'm not really talking about the individual sculpts too much here, but so good, so good. So that it's got 2 coats, and even then, as I feared, when I kind of got them off the painting stick, there were loads of areas that the black had missed. That I don't know, I've been spraying models for about 30 years, it's never an issue I seem to have with the white, but it just didn't seem to have covered properly. So I then chucked, this is it, contrast black Templar, which kind of runs, it's relatively thick, it does pretty decent coverage, runs into the gaps in kind of chainmail and those kind of things, and then kind of sits over the white primer. So I've now got a pretty decent black coverage. And I just got to say, these, because I haven't shown you the sculpts, they're so good. These Mordor Orcs are so cool. They're so Lord of the Ringsy. They're all unique. They feel like kind of Tolkienian orcs to me, and I just love them. I think they're brilliant. So yeah, such a variety of kind of sculpts and styles. It's really, really cool. This guy's one of my favourites. What a model that is. And my last spin. So there we go, all primed and ready to go. It is currently Tuesday the 9th of January, which means I have 15 evenings left until the SBG photo shoot. And obviously it goes without saying, on some of those 15 evenings I won't be able to kind of paint. So it's not 15 painting evenings, but we are now kind of ready to start painting with a long way to go. But yeah, so I'm excited. I like the models. I can't wait to get stuck into them. And I'm now going to begin a very, very heavy dry brushing stage. I'm going to be doing 4 dry brushes across these. My armour is going to be done just like my Taskmaster was in my Hobby Bingo vlog, where I'm going to dry brush all the armour with, I think it's Castellax Bronze, isn't it? And then dry brush all the armour with Ironbreaker. And then I'll be washing back some of that, glazing some of that armour with some washes to change the colours. And then I'm going to do the bases, which are, as always, a dry brush of Mornfang Brown and a dry brush of, painting them first with Rhinox Hide, and then a dry brush of Mornfang Brown and a dry brush of Shabty Bone. And so that's where I'm going to start getting those kind of 5 colours down to do a lot of the kind of messy, heavy work. And then we'll start blocking in some of the colours and giving them a wash. And I will come back when I've got an update, either probably after all that dry brushing or after they've all been based and washed, so that we can see how long we got to do the details. But yeah, at the moment 15 nights to go, so less than an evening per orc, which is, if I'm brutally honest, a bit of a worry. But you know, keep your fingers crossed, and who knows. For the moment at least, I still feel remarkably positive. Okay, so I just thought it was worth having a little look at the models that I'm trying to give a glow up as part of this hobby vlog, and let's see how we go. So we're going to start off with Ugluk. Here he is. Ugluk is probably in the best shape of all these models. This is actually the second Ugluk I did. I reckon I still painted this guy 8 years ago or something, but I repainted my very first Ugluk to better match my later Isengard armor. You can see there's a chip on the hair that will paint over, but for the most part I'm pretty happy with this colour scheme. And I'm just going to flick a light on because I think we might. Let's see, are we going to get better with that? I think that's probably showing off the colours a little better. So I'm actually pretty happy with the kind of the leather and the clothing and all that kind of stuff, but I think maybe we could do a little better on the face, a few more pronounced highlights on the face. So I might just go for that. Conversely, I then want to show off Malheur, who was painted at least 10 years ago, and this would have been like, he would match my first Ugluk, and you can see here it's all significantly ropier. There are a few more chips on him. That's mainly because I haven't used this guy a lot. He never formed part of my kind of competitive Isengard army, so he didn't see a lot of play. But most importantly, if I put them next to each other, can you see that Malheur on his loincloth here, he's got, that's kind of classic GW snakebite leather, whereas Ugluk has got the more the Steel Legion drab and probably a Baneblade brown highlight. So he's got this kind of old style of paint in my Orcs, and even his cloak is very, very kind of shiny. Now, I've never liked this model, for one thing, so I'm kind of loath to put too much effort into it. But obviously, if he gets used for the magazine in a close-up, I'd want him to be a bit better. So I feel like he might almost treat him like he's base coated and have to do a fair bit of work on him. Then, more like Ugluk, I've got the prone Merry and Pippin. So here they are, and I was actually very pleasantly surprised by this, that the Elven cloaks aren't painted like my current Elven cloaks, but it does look pretty good. And on Merry here, his trousers nice, his waistcoat's nice. I think I could do a better job on the face. I'm not going to redo eyes, but I think I might just pop another level of my new shading technique in, which is basically just putting kind of tusk or fur into the recesses to kind of improve that. This could backfire on me because I'm obviously showing this one off now, and then I'm probably going to do this and then come back and it won't look anywhere near as good. And I might redo the hair. The hair's a bit yellowy, but he's not too bad at all, like all things considered. And very, very similar with Pippin. I actually really like Pippin's face on here. I think I could do a better job in terms of contrast, but it's a great sculpt, and he certainly looks all right. And again, he's obviously painted at the same time as that Merry, but his cloak and his jacket are all right. So these two, all I'm proposing to do is a bit on the faces. And then the combination of these two things is I've got these. I've got the Scouts carrying Merry and Pip, which again are bound to get a close-up. They have been used in the magazine as is in issue 12. But it was one of those things that when we got to issue 12, we took a photo of them and was like, oh God, I should really tidy them up. And these Scouts match Maher rather than matching Ugluk. You can see that they've got that snakebite leather straps again. So I could do with kind of touching those up. And again, you know, their faces are just a bit... there's a very strong contrast, right? It's basically pale flesh or dark shadows. And I think I could do a little better than that now. So I might just spend... These guys need some work, like Maher needs some work. So I'm just going to try and touch those up. But fundamentally, let's be clear, none of these things matter. None of these things really matter compared to painting my new Merry and Pippin and painting those orcs. But I just feel like if I could just sit down for a couple of hours with these six models, I could make a lot of progress. I think I might even just start with these three, with Ugluk and Merry and Pip, because I think I can get them off the table really, really quickly. Very, very happy with them as is. Similarly, and then a bit more time on these guys. On the other hand, what I also might do is these cloaks are all, these are just painted like very old school kind of green cloaks with green highlights, same as these. So what I actually might do is when I'm painting my plastic Merry and Pippin and doing their fancy elf cloaks the way I now do elf cloaks, I might try and get all six of them out and all six of them on the painting handles and see what I can do. Or maybe I won't do anything on this because I run out of time. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, that's the plan. Those are the models that need to glow up, and fingers crossed we managed to spend a few hours on them and just touch them up a bit before the photo shoot. Okay, and it is update time. For the diary update, it is Tuesday the 16th. I believe my last clip when they were undercoated black was on Tuesday the 9th. So it is a week later. And as you can see, I'm delighted to say I have made some progress. Don't really know what to do, whether we should talk about models individually or just kind of run you through them, but I'm going to show you this. I'll just hold on to this one. The state of the models at the moment is they have all been base coated, they've all been washed, the armour is now finished, basically this will be the finish effect I'm going for the armour, so the armour's also been glazed over, and the eyes have been painted in. Now look at this guy for an example, big scary eyes, that is because whilst the eyes have been painted in, they haven't been tidied up. So what I will now do is take a dark paint, probably like more something like Dryad Bark or Mornfang Brown, and kind of draw a dark line above and below that eye to tidy it up. That's how I do my eyes. So whilst they have been painted, as I show you these models, please don't judge them because they will look better at the end. But yeah, so that's the state that all the models are at now. And as I said, it's a week later, so it's taken me a week to get through all this. I'm not going to lie, doing all this kind of base coating and washing has absolutely been a slog. You notice that the armour should look different colours. This one's got a kind of green tinge to it because it's been kind of glazed back with washes in the style that I do. For these models, I'm not too worried about the eyes. If the eyes come out, they are warriors. They're models I want to do well, but they're warriors. So I'm going to be trying to paint the eyes well, but I'm not going to be taking photos of them and then zooming in and correcting it or anything like that. So these kind of big scary eyes and then tidied up ones will be the way to go. So we're a week into the process. What did we do? As promised, I did the dry brushing, which was Castellax Bronze, followed by, or Castellax Brass, I can remember what it was called. It's here. Castellax Bronze, followed by a dry brush of Ironbreaker for the metals. I then dry brushed the base in my normal way, painting it Rhinox Hide, dry brush it Morphan Brown, dry brush it Shabty Brown. And then I got stuck in. So the skin, you'll see there's 4 different colours of skin. I've got basically blue skin, red skin, green skin, and brown skin, and they were painted with, I think, Mornfang Brown, Doomball Brown for the red, and they here the Fang for the blue, XV88 for the brown, and Castellan Green for the green. So they were their base coats for the skin. And then what I basically did was I took 6 colours. And painted a bit of cloth on all of them. Actually, it's sorry, I apologise, it's 5 colours. I took Steel Legion Drab, Doomball Brown, Mornfang Brown, Dryad Bark, and Corvus Black. and I painted a bit of each model in that, and then at the end I took Ryan Oxhide to paint any bits that were left, which is fundamentally the kind of weapon halves and the belts. So on here you'll see a little bit of kind of bright red, which in the sleeve there, which would be the Doomball brown. The gloves are the kind of dark grey, which is the Corvus brown. You'll see a a Dryad bark tunic there, and so on and so forth. And what I tried to do was change which part of every model was painted with which bit. So all the trousers changed colour. You know, it's not all the trousers are painted red, for example. Different parts of each model has each colour. And also, wherever there was a duplication of sculpts, and by that, as much as all of these poses are individual, actually I've got duplicates of the spearmen, but where we've got a duplication of the sculpt, so let's take these two for example. This is when GW were doing that very clever thing where they would take the same body but slightly change it up. So you can see that this is exactly the same body but with a different shield, a different head and a different weapon. And so you'll notice that when you do him, he's got different skin. They've got different skin colour in that. You know, this one's got the brown skin, this one's got the blue skin. They both got the leather plates. They've got the same, and he's got brown shoes on, he's got grey shoes on, and so on and so forth. So there's variation there. And also on the couple of times where I did duplicate the sculpt, which is just in the spearmen, you'll see that the spearmen, they were the same sculpt, got different colour skin, and then the parts of them are different. So this guy's got a kind of red jerkin, this guy's got a brown jerkin, he's got a red neck chief, this guy's got a grey neck chief, and so on and so forth, to try and add plenty of variety to the sculpts. Got the banner bearer here. So I basically did all those base colours, blocked in all those base colours, which I'm not going to lie, took a while, and then I got a bunch of washes out and kind of did all the washes on them. And this was, again, it was quite a time-consuming process, because rather than just chucking Agrax Earthshade all over them, which is the sort of thing I would do, I have done in the past, I used the right colour wash for the various parts of it, basically. And also, I was using that washing stage to glaze and finish my armour. So you can see his helmet there. The bit either side of that kind of strap around his head should look more bronzy now, because that's been glazed over with kind of Reikland flesh shade, and so on and so forth. So at that stage, as well as kind of providing shading to the clothing, I was also finishing up the metals. I really like this guy. I decided that his helmet looked a bit like a frog, so I've tinted everything on him green. He's the only one with a kind of green tunic, and I've tinted his metal green to give him a slightly different look there, which I think is kind of cool. So yeah, I went through that process, and it took a long time. I haven't kept track of quite how long we've been going in total, but the washes were taking somewhere around 7 to 10 minutes a model. So it's about 3 hours of doing the washes. Probably at least that for the base coats, and then probably an hour for the dry brushing. There's maybe about 8 hours in, I don't know, maybe a bit more, hard to say. But I am happy with how they're looking. This guy's pretty cool. His armors come out well. I like that kind of tarnished look on it. And so on and so forth. There's this dude. And the last one is this guy. Yeah, again, he's I don't know if it'll come in, but his shield's been tinted red inside there, just to kind of make it stand out. And at that point, my battery's about to die. I'll plug it into charge. So yes, that was the process, and those were the colours I used. And then, because I'm about to start moving on into doing them in batches, the last thing I did with them all together was I did all the eyes. So I ran through and dotted all the eyes with Talon sand as a yellow kind of eyeball, and then gave the little black pupil. So that's all done. So there we go. As I said, it's now Tuesday the 16th, which means we've basically got a week. I haven't started painting for the evening yet, so I do have tonight. But actually, I don't have a week, do I? I've got until Thursday night, so it might seem to you like I'm going to have the equivalent of 10 days. Because I need to be, Thursday next week is the last night I can be painting. But remember, we also have to finish off our Merry and Pippin, and we have to kind of tidy up those other models. And I reckon the total for that is about 2 evenings work, maybe. So what I'm basically doing is saying that will be assuming that Thursday, the last night, is my base rims. Wednesday and Tuesday I'm going to do Merry and Pippin, which means I've got until next Monday evening to do these orcs. And suddenly, if it's next Monday evening, I have 7 evenings left from tonight to do these. And given how long they've taken already, that is a lot to do. But let's focus on the positives. One thing, all the armour's done, the metal's done, and a lot of them have a lot of metal on them, so that's good. The other thing is all the eyes are done, so that'll help. So I'm going to try and be positive, and the way I've decided to move forward with this is that I'm now going to paint them in small batches based on their skin colour. So let's pick first. Let's do, I'm kind of most intrigued by the blues. So do you know what, I'm going to pick out my blue guys. So that's him, and is it that guy? No. Where's my other blue one? Oh, that's that dude there. Cool. So these guys have been selected as my first batch. I've got 4 models. This guy. This dude. This guy. And this guy. And what I'm basically going to do is now try and paint these to completion as a little batch paint. My argument being, whilst you know, whilst I do hope they all look a bit different, on the plus side, they've got the same skin colour. So I think working on them in batches of skin colour will work. So I also did that I didn't mention, and I'm not sure how well this will read at all, but is I tried to give the skins different washes. So quite how well this will do, you can see a kind of difference in the colour there, which is the same base coat but completely different wash. So I gave the blue, like one got a red wash, one got a green wash, one got a brown wash, and so on and so forth. And I did that across the board. So one with green skin got kind of washed with red, and one with the kind of red skin got washed with yellow, and so on and so forth. So there's kind of hopefully some subtle differences in skin colour. But now they've got that base which is different, I'm going to kind of highlight them up the same. And basically, as I showed you earlier, I've got 7 colours. So I've got my 6 colours here that with different parts of their cloth, and then I've got their skin. So each of these models have got 7 parts that need highlighting. And because I want these to look good, I want to do 3 highlights, I think, on every part of them. So I think I want to do like I think the order I'm going to do it is a kind of top bright highlight, then a dark shading highlight, and then maybe the base colour as a mid-tone, something like that. That's what I'm planning. So 3 layers per bit, and I've got 7 evenings. Now the way this obviously works is, let's just pretend I've got 8 evenings. I've got 4 batches to do, which means I've got 2 evenings per batch. There's nothing to say, of course, I'll get to paint in every one of those evenings, but that's what I need to be thinking of. So what I'm going to do tonight is paint half these colours. I'm probably going to start with the skin and then do 3 of these colours. And let's do the big half, because that's 4 out of the 7. And I'm basically going to finish those 4 areas on them and see how long it takes me. To see how long it takes me to paint 3 highlights on 4 areas of these orcs. And then tomorrow night, I'll do the other 3 and finish those. So my hope is that by the end of tomorrow night, these 4 guys are finished. That'll be the end of Wednesday night. These 4 guys are finished, and I also know how long they took. And I think I will be doing very well if it takes me 4 hours. I think if I can kind of get these down, so that would be an hour per model. So is that doable? Could I do basically 21 highlights on a model in an hour? That's a highlight every 3 minutes. Possibly. Feels kind of doable. And I feel like if I can do that, and then going forward knowing that I've just got to paint, just got to paint for 2 hours a night, we might be all right. But it still feels like an awful lot, if I'm brutally honest. So yeah, that's the plan. Nice long chunky update for you, this one, but I haven't spoken to you in a week and I have made quite a lot of progress, so I am pretty happy. And I'm very, very, very excited now to paint these guys and not be painting 17 models, just be painting 4 models. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get stuck in, and my hope is that I will come back after Wednesday to let you know how I got on. Hope it's Wednesday. It might end up being Thursday or Friday, to say, you know, how did we do? Did we finish them, or did the whole thing collapse? But yeah, that's what we're doing now, and we're going to plunge back into Orc Varna. Wish me luck. Well, it's update time, and in the last clip I told you I would be really pleased if I could come back with 4 finished orcs after 2 evenings. 2 evenings? How about 1 evening? Go yeah! These 4 guys are done, and it's only Wednesday. I believe I was speaking to you yesterday, which was on Tuesday the 16th, and I was about to start painting in the evening. And I was saying, right, I'm hoping to do these over the next 2 evenings, and I basically just had one completely mammoth painting session last night and got them all done in one, which is huge. So let's have a little look at them. So these 4 guys are now completely finished. As you see, really happy with how this guy's face turned out. This model was awesome. I'll talk about the colours in a minute. Got this guy, got this dude here. I got this dude here. This is another great one. Kind of green tinge to his armour. Super, super cool. And I've got this guy here. So I said I was going to be really happy if I could do these in 4 hours. And I thought if I could do them in 4 hours, then there was a chance that I'd be able to get everything done in time for next week. Well, good news, they took 3 hours and 40 minutes. So yeah, that was a massive tick. So a big old painting session last night, but 3 hours 40 minutes. I think I was speculating whether or not I could do basically one of these in an hour, and as it turns out, they took me about 55 minutes each, somewhere in that region. So pretty spot on. So while they're here, I just want to talk through my recipe. So I've given you kind of most of the base colours, and then like I said, everything basically had three further layers. So the skin was reset with the base colour, which in this case was the Fang, I think, and then it was highlighted with a light colour, and then shaded with a dark colour, but they were different colours, so I couldn't tell you on which one I did it. But for example, on this blue, I might have highlighted one with kind of Ulthram Grey, one with Hoeth Blue, one with Elf Flesh, and one with Rakarth Flesh, something like that. And that meant that their highlights were all slightly different on the different orcs. And then similarly, I then applied a shading colour into the recesses, like not an ink, but a normal paint, like wash down, and to give them a different colour. So I reckon in that maybe I used, or I don't know, Cantor Blue possibly, maybe Eshin Grey, and maybe a brown. Here you can see that this guy's kind of been tinted brown, so I reckon he had kind of Steel Legion Drab put onto it. Maybe even Doomball Brown, I think is this one, the one who kind of looks a bit purpley. I think he was probably shaded back down with Doomball Brown. So the idea is that all of their flesh looks different, and it works because it doesn't matter. So when you hold this guy up here, who's very, very blue, this guy ends up looking far more purple. But they were all done at completely the same time, and I'm really happy, and I think it works really, really well for orcs, where you don't necessarily, you certainly don't want that ragtag, that uniform look, and you use the kind of colours for their clothes to kind of tie them together like that. So that was the flesh. And then, as I said, there was basically, I think I said there were 7 colours, didn't I? Something like that. And so we then had the leather, where's the leather? That's this one here. So that was, I had put in a highlight of rat skin flesh on that. Then I shaded the darker areas with Rhinox hide, and then I did a mid-tone with Scrag brown. So those are the 3 layers to my leather. Next up we have the red cloth. There's a lot of red cloth here. And so the red cloth was highlighted with Tuskor fur. It was then shaded with Rhinox hide, and then there was a mid-tone of Doomball brown to get that. There was then a tan leather. Where have we got that? There's a tan leather. It might be on small kind of gloves and hands. Yeah, there's not much of it here. It's this bit on his feet down here. And that was a highlight with Baneblade brown, and then a shade with Steel Legion Drab. That's all I did for that. Then the dark brown cloth, such as on here, on his skirt around here. The dark brown cloth was highlighted with Gorthor brown, and then shaded with Dryad bark. And then you can actually see that's the lighter bit up here, because there's also a kind of black cloth. And then the black cloth was highlighted, and I did do a mix here. I did a mix of Corvus Black and Towlight Ochre, to highlight that, and then I shaded that back down with Corvus Black. I got to say, on here, as is often the case, I think the light's kind of knocking out some of the contrast in the colours. They're looking a bit shiny and a bit kind of one tone, but they look better than this in person, I promise. And then that was pretty much it. And then there was just the tiniest few other bits, like the hafts and the straps. So along here, I painted some Baneblade brown lines along there, and also wherever there was like a strap or a belt, that got a kind of Baneblade brown highlight. The halves then got a kind of very thin down coat of the Cygor brown contrast. The hair was 3 colours. There's quite a lot of hair on this model. It was highlighted Storm Vermin Fur, then highlighted Rakarth Flesh, and then shaded with Eshin Grey. And then finally, the shields, I don't know if we'll be able to see in here, on the backs of the shields, I painted in some Baneblade brown lines, and then did a Cygor brown shade over that. So that's basically the same as the kind of weapon hafts. And that was it. And so obviously, whilst they all had different areas going on, I was painting them all at the same time. Let me try and find some good examples. So this guy, for example, has got the kind of red leather gloves, whereas this guy's got the red leather tunic. So that red was basically the same colour scheme painted at the same time, just on a completely different area of the model. And then I think occasionally I might have just touched up some of the metal with Ironbreaker, just where some of the other colours have got onto it. But overall, delighted, really, really pleased. Got 4 orcs done that I'm really happy with, most importantly. So my colour scheme works, and whatever happens now, I know that the way I'm painting my Mordor Orcs is cool, and I like them. And it also means that it came in under the time that I would need to have a chance of being able to paint the rest in time for the photo shoot next weekend. So as I said in the last clip, it doesn't guarantee that I will get it done for the weekend, but there's a chance. So I now need to crack on. This guy's my favourite so far. I love him. I need to crack on and keep doing this, basically. Keep painting for about 2 hours a night to get all those guys done, and then try and squeeze in finishing Merry and Pippin and touching up the 4 other Merry and Pippin models and Ugluk and Malheur. And if I can do that, we can be hopeful that we'll see you soon. I hope my next clip should be when it's when they're all finished. I hope that's when I'll come back next, or either that or when I'm about to go to the photo shoot and they're not finished. But we shall see. But yeah, so far feeling really good and really pumped about everything we've done. Onwards. All right, so it is update time. It is Friday the 26th, which means it is the morning of the photo shoot. The last time I spoke to you, I think, was Wednesday the 16th, when I was delighted to have just finished these 4 guys, which you've seen before. So, how did we get on? Well, good news. The Orcses are done, pretty much. So, let's have a look at them. I'm going to go through them sort of one by one. Here they are. Here's our green batch. And again, like I kind of talked to you before, you'll notice that as much as this is a green batch, every orc will look different, because the base coat was reset, then there was a highlight in a selection of different colours, and then there was a shade down in a selection of different colours. So if I actually hold up, let's try and find 2. I'm jumping ahead, I'm going rogue here, but I'm going to pick up 2 of my red guys. These were the Doomball brown base, and you can see their skin ends up looking very, very different. Because they've been given different highlight colours and different shading colours. So yeah, but here's our bunch of green guys. I love this dude, one of my favourites. He's awesome. Pleased with how he came out, pleased with the face. And there we go. You saw with the blue skin guys that we'd got the time down to under 4 hours, and that's kind of what it played out as, about 3.5 hours for the batch. So we're somewhere in the region of 3 hours 50 minutes each for these orcs to highlight. There's another one. This is one of my favourites, the frog guy, who I deliberately leaned into the frog theming with a kind of, he's the only one with a kind of green robe and this kind of greeny bluey skin and a green tinged arm. I really like this guy. I'm going to try and sneak him into as many photos as I can in the magazine. I try and sneak him onto the cover, don't tell Tom. The frog. And then this spearman. Really, really happy with these. Just like I was happy with the blue ones, I'm happy with how these all came out. So got that. So that's a little batch of green skins. And then these ones, I think, and sometimes it's hard to tell where they started. I think this was a red base, and up through kind of grey highlight, and then down into a brownie mix. Another spearman here. Painting these has just made me fall in love with these models even more. I absolutely adore them. I think they're awesome. And I think there's a couple of sculpts I haven't painted yet. I've only painted 16, there's a couple of multiples. So I think that might be a treat to come. Really pleased with these guys. Not going to go too much over the colours because I know I did that with the blues. He's cool. Pretty happy with how his face turned out. And then finally onto the yellows and the browns, which have all kind of ended up looking quite different. Not much skin on this guy, you can just see his sort of chin in there. Lovely scale mail. I love how different all of these orcs are from each other. They really look like a kind of ragtag band. Oh, I haven't quite spaced that right over. And back a bit. There we go, that's what I'm after. Lovely. And this guy, super cool. This dude, I love this archer. Really cool. Gave his armour kind of almost yellowy, it's hideous kind of horrible greeny yellow colour tinge. Looks like bile or something. Hideous. Love it. And then finally this dude here. Pretty pleased with how he turned out. So there we go, those are our 16 orcs and they are done. As I said, it is the morning of Friday the 26th, so this is the day the photo shoot starts. Probably at the start of this vlog I would have said I'd be going to Tom's on Thursday night, and we just abandoned that last night. I still had a bit of painting to do. Tom was really knackered, and I was planning on going around to his at super late at night anyway, so we just abandoned it and said stay up late, finish painting, and then come over this morning. So that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be heading over later this morning. But the awesome news is 16 orcs fully finished, which I am delighted with. It's been a tough old slog getting them all done, but I managed to find the time, and I'm really pleased. I'm really proud of myself. You notice the 16, not 17, because the banner didn't get done. Here's the last one, the 17th orc, the banner, and honestly, he was just a model too far. We were getting to the point where we didn't need a banner. The banners, spoilers, these models will be going to the GT with me. The banner's very much for the GT. For our kind of narrative scenarios and photos, we don't need a banner. And so I just thought, you know what, I'm going to bump this guy till next month. Huge spoilers, more Mordor Orcs coming next month. But he was basically, as I said, they were taking about 45-50 minutes each to paint. And I was like, that's just 50 minutes that I can save and work on the other guys. So you'll see him being finished up next month, hopefully with a kind of fun banner design. But my 16 orcs are complete. And you know what? I really enjoyed this. As much as it's been tough, I'm really proud of myself for what I got done, and I enjoyed working on them and looking forward to getting more done. But of course, it wasn't just the orcs that needed to be done. We had some other kind of stuff. We had to paint Merry and Pippin from scratch, and we had to touch up some models. So I'm going to start with the touching up models. I'm going to start with these two. Merry and Pippin being carried, they are going to look suspiciously like they looked before, because we don't need them anymore. I'm really tempted to just hurl these over my shoulder, but these are really precious, rare metal models, so I won't do that. The photo that these guys were going to be in has been dropped from the magazine. I had a long kind of phone zoom with Tom where we were working through the magazine, and these were going to appear in one photo, and we just haven't got space for it, so we're not going to take that photo. So thankfully, I worked that out before I spent any time on them, and what that meant is these guys have had no love. So didn't need them. So sorry guys, you're so close to getting some nice new elven cloaks and improved faces, and the scouts would have that horrible garish snake-like leather replaced with some Steel Legion drab, but alas, it is not this day. Maybe one day. So that kind of helped, because then I only had 4 models to touch up. So let's start with the Orcs. I'm going to start with Ugluk, and here he is. So Ugluk had relatively little done to him, because he was already pretty well painted, I think. He's had his face touched up. I think he had some kind of lighter flesh tones applied to his face. I don't think I redid his eyes or anything, but his face should look a bit better. But the main work here was on the head. That was a kind of fairly quickly painted green head, and I've changed it to blue to kind of better match Snaga and kind of put some effort into it. And do you know what? I'm actually really happy with how that turned out. There's a kind of hopefully shiny red stump under there. He also had a bit of a touch up where he had some chips on the back of his hair and that sort of stuff. and I think his armour has been touched up, so it doesn't look quite as dry brushed as it did before. It's had some kind of highlights and been shaded back down. So I'm really pleased with him, but he didn't have too far to go, so that's okay. On the other hand, Malher, boom, has also been touched up, and basically should look completely different. Malher, I think, has had new layers on every area of him. What I'm really annoyed about is I didn't take a before photo, so my only before images are going to be the stills in this video, basically. So I think if I just hold him over here, I wonder if future Damian might remember this and might get a piece of kind of footage of the original Malher and just put it to the left there, so we can compare it. But I have to say, I'm really, really happy with how he turned up. He got new skin highlights. He had the snakebite leather replaced with the Steel Legion drab. His armour got redone. And I actually think, to be fair, I think almost every part of him got redone. The cloak definitely did. And, you know, obviously he was already kind of well base coated, so it was just adding a couple of extra new highlights. But I'm much, much happier with him now. I'm not saying he's the best model I've ever painted, but I think he's come on an awfully long way, and will look much, much better in the photos. And the other thing was, I was quite pleased that Ugluk and Malher, they took about 45 minutes between them. So the updating of those two was only about 45 minutes, which I was pretty pleased with. And then the other two models we had to update were Merry and Pippin. So here is Pippin. And what he's basically had done is his elf cloak has been changed to match my new elf cloaks, and his skins been kind of changed to match the new WoW Paint skin. So basically, my hope is that the contrast on his skin shouldn't look quite so. The contrast shouldn't be as big. So there should be slightly more subtlety in the skin transitions. But I'm pretty happy with him. And then similarly, Merry had exactly the same thing. I was already really happy with Merry's face, so I was trying to be subtle with it. But it was just a case of adding a bit more shading. Because some subtle kind of pink shading into the hairline to kind of ease the transition between the brown hair and the skin. Work on his hands there. And I was actually I think I did a little bit of work on his waistcoat, but I was actually pretty pleased with his jacket and his trousers already. And he also got the same elf cloak. So pretty pleased with those. I didn't spend too long on them, and I was doing their elf cloaks at the same time I was doing the other Merry and Pippin elf cloaks. But they definitely look better, and they should hopefully pop, because they're going to be featured in quite a lot of photos, I suspect, in the issue. And that just leaves us with Merry and Pippin, and they also got done. So here is Pippin. There he is. I never really know how. I haven't had the chance to go into the eyes to see how they are, and this kind of camera work tends to show them off better than my eyes can. But I think he looks all right there. That's going to be the angle he's seen from. He seems to be pretty good here. The benefit of hobbits is they're quite small. There's not too much to paint. But I did my my traditional elven cloaks, which is just about 10 layers of varying shades of Eshin grey, Stegadon scale green, Nurgling green, and Ulthuan grey. I was pretty pleased with how he turned out. It's a lovely model. He's going to look great for Amon Hen, where we're going to. Alas, the main Amon Hen pictures are in issue 12, and we couldn't get them ready. But there's definitely going to be at least one Amon Hen picture in here, and then these two are also going to be our kind of shots of them kind of in the Entmoot and maybe running away from Grishnak and that sort of stuff in issue 15. So we've got him. Oh no, we've run out of space. Where's he going to go? Let's poke him into this hole. And then finally, exactly the same for Merry. Here's Merry. Which again, really quite pleased with how he turned out. Didn't have too much time to photograph the face and go in and kind of try and correct it, but pretty pleased overall. Again, quite happy with how his elf cloak came out. So this is the standard elf cloak that I paint now, so hopefully this would be quite similar to this in terms of its colours. But there we go. So Merry and Pippin got rescued from the backlog and painted. And there we go. So that is my month's hobby progress. Obviously these 4 don't count. These are bonus models that were already painted, but they've had a nice touch up. But I have painted 18 models. I am absolutely delighted. I'm so pleased with myself. That's an awful lot for me, and I'm really happy. And now I get to pack them all up and stick them in a case and off to the photo shoot. So they will be being photographed when the paint and the glue for the static grass on their base is almost still wet. So they're straight into action, but we're really excited to kind of capture loads of cool photos of these guys for throughout issue 15. So that's what I'm going to go and do. I'm going to do that now, and then probably on the other side of the weekend I will head over to the chair and sign off the vlog. I will see you there. So there we go, we are done. Kaloo Kalay, we have finished the Orcs and Merry Pippin and everything else, and I am delighted. So I'm now back from the photo shoot. I think I recorded the clip on Friday morning, didn't I, of like how it had gone before I headed off to the shoot. But yeah, we're now back from the photo shoot, and so I can close off this vlog and kind of reflect on how it went. But yeah, overall I'm absolutely delighted. I think I mentioned this when I was actually showing you the finished models, but I'm so happy with how those Orcs turned out. They were fun to paint. I enjoyed it, and I think they've come out as well as I could do them, if that makes sense. Now, whenever I paint warriors, I always kind of think, well, I suppose I could paint them better, but in terms of the amount of time you put into warriors, they're about as good as I'm ever going to paint anything. I think they're up there with my kind of Dale warriors, where it's like, this is the most time I'll ever put into painting some warrior models that aren't heroes. And in that regards, I'm really happy with them. They're not speed paints, they're not B-side models, they're models that I think have come out really well. So I'm particularly pleased to have done that. I'm very pleased to have done that, and I'm particularly pleased to have been able to do that and get 16 done in a month, which is awesome. So yeah, 16 Orcs done. Really pleased with the effect, really enjoyed doing them. Also Merry and Pippin, and then touch-up jobs on the other Merry and Pippin, Ugluk and Malher. So that was really cool, and of course they've served their purpose, or they've served part of their purpose, in that we've had the photo shoot now, so it's super exciting. And what's really cool, and I'm really chuffed and proud about, is that they feature in a lot of the photos. So we've got the photos for issue 15 of SBG. It's 14, issue 15 of SBG, which is due to come out in May. The cover, oof, best cover ever. Oh, maybe, lots of excitement to come. It's definitely going to be interesting. But yeah, and those Orcs feature very prominently throughout the issue, which is really cool, and they just look great in the photographs. I'm really happy with how the colours pop, and a little bit of a teaser for you coming out at the end of the video, so hopefully you'll enjoy that. So yeah, photo shoot went brilliantly well. We got everything done that we needed to. Had a brilliant weekend with some guest stars as ever, and we're now ploughing away on issue 15 of SBG, and hopefully ready to release at 7 Stones. 7 Stones gives me a link to a kind of, as much as I'm super positive about the Orcs and super positive about the magazine, there is a tinge of sadness to conclude this this vlog with, in that I mentioned right at the start that these Orcs are meant to be the heart of my hobby for 2024, and they were going to go to the SBG issue 15 photo shoot, they were then going to go to the GT, they were then going to go to the SBG issue 16 photo shoot, and then they were going to go to Warhammer World doubles, where me and my friend Adam ride to doubles every year. And since we started recording this vlog, they've announced that Warhammer World doubles is on May, is it the 26th and 27th, 25th and 26th, which is the same weekend as 7 Stones. So I don't know what led to such a massive date change in that. It was in September last year. I think teams was in May last year, so they've maybe swapped the teams and the doubles slot. I don't really know, but yeah, doubles, Warhammer World doubles, which is probably my third favourite event of the year. I always sort of Ardacon and Throne of Skulls will always be my favourites. But then after that it'd be doubles, and I just love going to War with Adam. Is on the same weekend as 7 Stones, which obviously I'm contractually obligated to go to, and so I won't be able to go to doubles this year, which sucks. I'm not gonna kind of try and put a positive spin on this. It just sucks. It's just dumb luck. There's no one's fault. There's certainly nothing intentional or malicious in it. It's just dumb luck, and it's fallen that Warhammer Worlds doubles weekend falls on the same weekend as sort of the biggest and longest running independent doubles weekend, which I have to go to because I bloody run the thing. So that's rubbish, and so I'm absolutely gutted about it. And so myself and Adam, despite having started planning for doubles, which we thought was going to be September, in January, have now had to pause our project as well. I don't know if I mentioned this at the start of this video or in the last video, but the project we were taking to doubles was also the one that we were meant to be taking to doubles in 2020. So we thought it was going to come in 2024, 4 years later. I guess it'll have to be on pause for 2025. So there we go. So really, really genuinely disappointed, particularly given, you know, we won it last year, so it'd be nice to go and defend our titles, but alas, we can't make it. And fingers crossed this isn't the new permanent home of doubles, because that would be truly horrific. But yeah, so there we go. That was a bit disappointing, but it is what it is. You know, there are more important things in life, and we shall carry on. So the last thing we have to do, because as I mentioned right at the start, this blog has taken in the whole of January. The photo shoot being on, let me make sure I get the dates right. The photo shoot was on the 27th and 28th of January. Or 26th, 27th, 28th, really, I suppose. But it was right at the end of January, which was cool. So we can update you on our first month's numbers. So how did they go? Well, we painted 18 models. Yes, Damian. Painted 16 orcs, and we painted the new plastic Merry Tree bid. So Uglark, Malher and the Pro Merry Pippin don't count because they're already in my collection as painted. So nothing for them, I'm not cheating. But 18 models. That is more models than I've painted in a month in over a year. The most models I painted in a single month in 2023 was 11. So starting 2024 with my most productive hobby month in over a year is awesome. I'm absolutely delighted with that. Now, there is a downside to this, that because we include anything I get from Christmas in this, remember my hobby collecting year, so my January month is actually 25th of December to 31st of January. So I get my Christmas stuff, and in that, my wonderful Secret Santa, whoever you are, thank you, got me a trebuchet, so that's 4 models, trebuchet and 3 crew, and my wonderful mum out there, who I do know who you are, thank you, got me 23 of the translucent Army of the Dead. Still haven't got them, but 20 of the Warriors, and then the 2 Heralds and the King. So I got 27 models for Christmas. So coming into my January totals, I've painted 18, but I've added 27. So we are in the red. This month we are 9 models into the red, painted 18 and took on 27. But I'm not going to let this get me down for 2 reasons. One, I painted 18 models, which is awesome, and if I continue that throughout the year, which I won't, I'll kick down the doors of my targets. But also because those 23 models, those 23 Army of the Dead models, are going to get flipped in, as I said to you in my hobby goals video, in about April time when we assemble them on stream. So whilst I've had these 23 models chucked into my negative numbers at the start of the year, they're going to be chucked into my positive numbers in a couple of months. So there's going to be a wonderful month where suddenly I get this bonus 23 kind of painted models, which would be cool. And the trebuchet is also very much on the schedule to be painted this year. So hopefully certainly the plan and the intention, and I think the safe bet is that all 27 of the models I've got so far will be cleared from the backlog this year, which is pretty cool. So there we go. Very, very, very positive signs for me. 18 painted models, which I'm delighted with. Really pleased with how they turned out. So what's next? It's more orcs. This was the road to the SBG photo shoot, and whilst our plans for doubles have been curtailed, our plans for the GT have not. The GT is, let me check the calendar, the 24th and the 25th of February, so that's the end of, that's basically the end of the month of February, much like the photo shoot was the end of January. So my February hobby goals are to paint some more orcs for that, and it's another batch of Mordor Orcs that I need to do. So that's what I'll be moving on to next. And what's really good is, despite having painted 16 in quite tight time constraints, I'm looking forward to it. I'm not sick of Mordor Orcs yet, so I'm really pleased to be doing that. When I was doing lots of the Dale Warriors, where I was putting lots of time in, I really got sick of working on them, and I didn't want to go back to more. And obviously since then, which was over a year ago, I haven't gone back to Dale, despite having half the army left to do. So one day. But with the Mordor Orcs, I'm quite keen to plough on, and I'm pleased with my process. So I think it'll be quite easy to get back into it and paint another batch of them. But that is, of course, for the next hobby vlog. And that's it. As ever, I'm going to be leaving you with a couple of pictures, and I have to say a super special thanks to Jim Muller, who is our photographer for SBG. So we head over to his studio for the photo shoot, and given that I was right at the end of a vlog, I asked him if he wouldn't mind taking a snazzy picture of my painted orcs. So the picture you're going to see now, just showing off the orcs, the fully painted orcs, was taken by Jim. It's not taken by me, so it's nice and high quality, and they're all focused nicely and everything. It looks, really shows them off well. And then, as if that wasn't enough, I had a little word with Tom, and we decided to give you a cheeky teaser of what's to come. So I've got a photo from issue 15 that's got the plastic and Merry and Pippin I painted, and I've got a photo from issue 15 that shows all of my painted orcs, the touched up Uglark Malha and the touched up Merry and Pippin lying on the floor. So we're going to give you a super secret teaser of a couple of the photos that will appear in issue 15 of SBG as well. I hope you like them, and I hope it gets you thinking about the sort of cool things you'll be seeing in issue 15. So yeah, there we go. Hopefully a slightly higher quality photo presentation at the end than normal. Delicious. What a start to the year. And that is it. I hope you've enjoyed this vlog. It's been a lot of fun doing it, and I'm delighted to get those Mordor Orcs out of the backlog after so long. Please make sure you've subscribed. If you've enjoyed this, or if you've hated it, please leave a comment below and tell me all about it. The comments are the only thing that keeps me going here, and it really does mean the world to me. I'll try and reply to all of them. Down below there is a link to our affiliate link with our friends at 7 City Collectibles. So if you want to pick up some hobby supplies and you want to help out the channel, please do go through that link. There's also a link to our Patreon community down there, so if you want to join the coolest group of nerds in all the world, you can sign up there for as little as £1 a month to join our group. And failing that, I will see you very soon on Battle Streams in Middle-earth, whether that's in the next one of these hobby vlogs, or the next live stream with myself and Steve as we look through the storied history of battle games in Middle-earth. But until then, I'll see you very soon on Battle Streams in Middle-earth.